Today is Sunday, March 22nd, and we are at Congaree National Park. As you can see from the parking lot, there's really hardly anyone here. Okay, it's good to know that the mosquito meter is low today. We're at the Harry Hampton Visitor Center. We're looking down here in the hills. Today's plan is to hike the boardwalk. As we can see here, there is a section of the boardwalk trail that is under construction, but there is. Congaree National Park protects the largest remaining tract of old-growth bottomland and hardwood forest in North America. Typically, when you're hiking in a national park, the best time to see wildlife is early in the morning or early in the evening. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. And here's our first wildlife, a squirrel. Racing up the tree. So we are now coming to the junction with the Boardwalk trail. According to the map here, we're going to try to do this boardwalk trail in what would be a clockwise direction. So we're going to take a left here. To the right is the Bluff Campground, Bluff Trail, but we're staying on the Boardwalk trail, and this is where it looks like we're heading into the swamps. Because we are now higher up. Congaree National Park offers a self-guided boardwalk tour which can be downloaded from the park website. The numbered placards correspond to passages within the guide. This fallen loblolly pine continued to burn after a prescribed fire due to naturally caused injury at the base of the trunk. After the tree fell, resource managers sectioned the tree to ensure the fire was fully extinguished. The thing about coming here so early, besides the animals, which I think is a big plus, is that I'm not seeing a lot of humans. And this boardwalk, it might be difficult to separate yourself by 6 feet, considering the boardwalk's only about 4 feet wide. Looking out into the swamp here. Plenty of birds around. I haven't seen too many, so they must be small. And the cypress trees, these big trees that go way up to the sky. They're huge. But an interesting aspect is that they have all these root knees. So the knees are all these little stumps. You can see the squirrel running around there that come up out of the ground. These are actually roots for the trees themselves. Once a bend in the Congaree River, Westin Lake is now an oxbow lake. Over 2,000 years ago, the river gradually changed its course and meandered south, leaving behind Westin Lake. If you listen closely, you can hear some, probably some woodpeckers. And probably dozens of other types of birds that I can't really identify. You see below us is like an exit ramp or an on-ramp. There is a couple of junctions here. Junction here with another trail. We're going to stick with the boardwalk trail today. I'll let you know how it goes. The boardwalk trail is designed to be friendly for wheelchairs, strollers, and it also welcomes leashed pets. When construction is completed at the end of 2020, the entire loop will be ADA accessible. Okay, according to the sign here, this is the Westin Lake Loop, and the Oak Ridge Trail and the King Snake Trail all head off in this direction. Through the trees here we see Westin Lake and a pretty red bird over here. I know I couldn't put my arms around that one. It's pretty tall too. The low area you see on both sides of the boardwalk is called a gut. Guts and sloughs are low channels in the forest that help disperse water throughout the floodplain when Congaree River floods. The gut fills with water prior to the entire forest floor flooding. It looks like we have a short section of trail out of service. Imagine there's a lot of work in keeping these boardwalks up and running. So boardwalk loop continues here. And this is the Sims Trail that we're crossing, and if we were to continue south on the Sims Trail, we would be in the wilderness boundary. We're in a section of new boardwalk here. What's really interesting is all these knees, a lot of them are covered with moss, and they look like little creatures. There are a couple of woodpeckers in this area. Either that or the trees are knocking it. Oh, I see one. He's way out there on that branch. See if I can. By the time I get him in focus, he'll be gone. Oh, there he is. He's pecking the end of that branch. Must be some good stuff in there. Maybe some birders out there will know what bird is singing to me. We're 1.6 miles into our hike, and this puts us at the southwestern end of our box. If we were to leave the trail here, we're going to go following the Westin Loop, the Oak Ridge Trail, and the River Trail. We just came from that direction, and now we're heading back up here towards the visitor center. From the mud on the bench, you can see that this portion of the boardwalk was definitely underwater recently. I think as recent as last week they had some serious floods here. These roots are a little different. Instead of being more like the knees that we're seeing in some of these other trees, these almost look like swamp maples where they come up and out of the ground and go back down rather than big knees. Here we have a pair of knees up close and personal. 2 miles into the hike, and we are now at the top where the left side meets the top flat side, the northwest corner. Here, going straight forward, is where the construction is happening. Here you can see these gray tubes in the ground are where they'll be setting the footings for the reconstruction of the boardwalk. This has definitely been an interesting hike here at Congaree National Park. I just passed my first 2 people that I've seen all morning at over 2 miles into the hike. So pretty quiet here. I don't know if it's quite this quiet on a normal weekend day, but then again, nothing's really normal these days, given the pandemic that we're living with. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification. That way there you won't miss any videos that I have coming up. And thanks for watching and hiking with us today.